Hello everyone, it's Professor Sadiq Noor, and today I'm gonna demonstrate how to finish your Excel exploring the function library guided project. So I will go through the step how you gonna go through the functions and how you gonna learn about different functions that we use in Excel. So let's start. As you see, I'm already in the SimNet assignment, which is M1402 Excel Exploring the Function Library Guided Project 6-3. So in this case, first we have to download the file. Then once we finish the steps, we have to upload it to get the grade, right? So it looks like this assignment has only one file to download. So I will click on start file. So I have to download the start file so that I will be able to work on the steps. So once I have downloaded, as you see, the file is Sadiq Noor wherever -06. So I will click it to open in Excel. Once you open Excel and the assignment file, actually you have to enable the file so that you're gonna be editing the file, because by default the file is been in a protected view. So we will enable editing first. So now we can do all the steps. So in this workbook, you see I have satisfaction survey, I have average rating, I have criteria, I have shipment sheet, and then I have the inventory workbook. So, sorry, worksheet. So these are all the worksheet that we need to work on it, right? So let's get to the instruction, and I will scroll down. So the first step here, these are the skill covered in this project. So you're gonna calculate the number of shipment days. We have to use the text function to display the name, the day name, like Tuesday, Monday. And then we have to evaluate the formulas, and then we have to use an index, an XMatch function, and then we have to use the Sumifs from the math, and then we have to use the Daverage from the database category of the function in Excel, and then we have to use the EFS formula from the logical. So these are the function will be covered in this exercise. So we have to go down. So the first step to complete the project is that we need to open the wherever 06 that has your name on it, and then we have to enable editing, which we already did there. So we have to check this box. Next, we will go down. The next thing is to calculate the number of shipment days, right? So for the first step here, they say select the shipment time worksheet. So let's go there and select D5. So let's go to the workbook, click on the shipment, which is the second last one, the shipment, and then we have to select D5, D5, right? I zoomed in so you're gonna see what's going on in here. Then let's go back to the instruction. And then the dates in this sheet are volatile because they are determined by using the today function in cell B5. So if you look that in B5, this is the today function is being used. If you look in the formula bar, today function. So it's a volatile function with the date is there. As they mentioned here, the sheet are volatile because the dates are volatile, right? So the next thing now we have to select C5. So go back C5 here, right? So here they use a formula, right? Now we have to go to now C we have to go to actually D5, the days. We have to determine the days, right? So we have to start here in your instruction. They said you need to type equal and select the C5 minus the B5 column, right? So that will give us the first shipment required, which is 4 days. So let's go here, and then you will go to the formula bar. You're gonna start with equal, select C5 minus B5, press the enter key. So the first shipment is gonna take 4 days. All right. Now we're gonna find the arrival day. We have to determine what will be the day. Is it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday? So we need to know which day of the week, right? So I'm in E5. Let's get back to the instruction. So check these boxes. We're done with it. Now we are in E5. Use the text function to display the day of the work or week. We have to use the text function to display the day of the week. So we have to select E5. E5, as you see, my cursor is in E5. Go down. Let's go to the instruction. Now click the text button, which is under the function library, and choose text. All right. And then we have to select the C5 for the value argument. And then we have to click the format under the argument. Under the format text, we have to give the argument D 4 Ds to spell out the day name, right? So that's like to determine which day is it Thursday, Monday, Wednesday. So the format of the text we need is D 4 Ds to spell out the day name. So let's do this step here. So first I will go back to your worksheet. So we're gonna go to the formula and then function library, right? And then you will see the text function. And then we have to look for text. So scroll text. So under the text, we have to select C5. All right, C5. Now, if we go back to the instruction, they said we have to select C5 for the value argument. The value we selected is C5. Now, what the format you want the C5 to determine what day is it. So we will do 4 Ds. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 Ds is the format we need. Now we will click OK. Now that is Thursday, right? So let's go back to the instruction. We're done with this one. We're done with this, and then we're done with this. Now let's scroll down. All right. Now we clicked it. Okay. And then the arrival day is volatile and your result depend on the date in B5, right? Now we need to copy a D5 all the way to E5 and then, sorry, we have to select D5 and E5 and then we have to use the fill pointer or fill handle to fill the rest of the cells. So let's do that. So you will click on D5, highlight E5, hold the fill pointer or the fill handle, the square box in the bottom, until you see a teeny plus sign. Hold the left key and drag it all the way down to the 50th row. That determines the days and it determines how long is gonna take to get your shipment, right? Let's go back to the instruction. So let me check. This box is done. Now we have to evaluate formulas with the error triangles, right? So select C4. Let's go and see what's in C4 to track what the problem is. When you see a blue like a triangle, that means there's an error kind of stuff, right? So if you click the triangle here and the black down arrow, it says that the formula is inconsistent, all right? And then either you need to ignore it or you wanna check the errors and so on, right? So let's see what the book says here. So we are in C10, the instructions are again, and then we have to trace the button. The error is inconsistent with the other in the column as I write for you. Now we need to go to the formula tab and then we have to evaluate the formula. And then we have to click on evaluate in the dialog box, the date in in the cell B10, evaluate to its serial number, right? So let's do these two steps first. So we are in C10. We will go to formulas, which we are in the tab formulas. Look for the formula auditing, and then you will see also if you click here and trace error, you will get this message because we do have a value here, right? So, but it is inconsistent. So they said the trace error command requires that the active date contain an error. So there's no error, but there's an inconsistent the date. So let's click OK, and then we will go back to the formula auditing. We will click on evaluate the formula, and that's where the problem is. They said B10, right? B10 is something that has an issue. So what we need is we will click evaluate. Now we have a number like this. If you go back to your instruction, it says that when you clicked it, the evaluate in the dialog box, the date in the in the cell B10 evaluate to its serial number, right? And then we need to click the evaluate again. The result is the date in C10. This is not an error. So let's go back and then we have to click evaluate again the second time. So now we have a date and then we will hit close, right? Once we hit close, let's go back and then we closed it. Now we have to go to C10 and then we have to actually ignore it, the error. And then we have to do ignore for C12, C28, and C35. Go back and then click the small down arrow here. Ignore the error. It's gonna take out the green rectangular shape. Now click here, ignore. Now let's go to the next cell that we have the green. Here we go here in C28. So click the triangle, ignore error, and then let's go here. And then we need to click here and then ignore error. All right. So once we have done with this, let's get back to the steps. We ignored all this. Now, one of the big formula here is we have to use nest XMatch and index to display the quantity, right? So the first thing is that we need to click the inventory sheet tab and select the cell A3 all the way to H50, and then we have to name that range that we selected from A3 to H50. We have to give the name inventory, right? So to do that, let's get back to the Excel, and then we have to look for the inventory is the first sheet, the last sheet here. Click on it, and then select A3 all the way to H50, all right? Once you highlight it, now we have to go to the name box, and then we have to name it what in the instruction says inventory. So you can copy this. You can copy it, and instead of typing it, copy, and then go back and paste in the name box. So what happened is now, and then push the enter key. So you named it from A3 all the way to H50. Now the name is inventory. Now the next thing, let's get to this instruction. Now the third step is click K5 and type WEO06. So let's copy this. Go back to your Excel, K column and 5. So that's K5, and paste what you copied, right? Now we lost the border. So just go back here, go to the home, and then you can click outer box. All right. So go back here. Now quantity. So let's go to our instruction. So in case 6, we have to go to the lookup and references button under the function library, and then we have to select the function index. All right. So first we have to go to K6. K6 is this, K row 6, right? So we will go to the formulas and then look for the function group. Function library is the first group under the home tab, and then look for lookup and references and look for index. Index function is to return a value or references of the cell at the intersection of a particular row and column in a given range. So click the index function. Now, once you click the index, you have two options to choose from. So let's see what the instruction says to select. So we will choose this. We clicked it. Now, select the first argument list array, row underscore number, column underscore num, and click OK. So let's check that. Is that the one? Array underscore num column, and then click. So it's array row underscore number, and then comma column underscore num, and then click OK. So it's gonna open the function argument for the index. So first we need the array. So let's go and find out the instruction first. So we need to select the inventory as our array. So remember, if you remember, the inventory was the range that we named it, right? From A3 all the way to H50, right? So to pull up that range, we have to press FN, hold the FN and press F3. So some of your laptop, they have the FN key, hold the FN key and press F3 to pull up the inventory argument, and then we have to select that we want this inventory to be selected. So let me show you. Go back. We are in the array here, right? So you will hold the function, which is the FN, and hold the F3. As you see, it opens the paste name dialog box. We need to select the name inventory, and then we need to click OK. So it means we selected all these, right? So the next arguments is row num. So let's go back. So we will check this. Now under the row num box, click the name drop down, and we have to select the XMatch function. If you don't see the XMatch function, then we have to click for more function to find and select the XMatch, right? So to do that, you will click here, and then we will go back to this. First, you will click the row num. Then you will go to the name box and then you will click the drop down and then you will have to find the XMatch. If you don't see it, then you will go to more function and then look for lookup and then check XMatch under the lookup and references, right? So if you are able to see it under the name box, that's well and good. If not, then click for more option. And then if your function is like this, sorry, the category, so you have to go click the drop down and select the lookup and references category, and then is the last one is the XMatch. All right. So the XMatch actually we use to return the relative position of an item in an array. So obviously, if we want to find out the exact position of an item in an array, we will use the XMatch. So we will click OK. So it's gonna open now the XMatch. So we will be providing these arguments, the lookup value, the lookup array. So let's go back to the direction, the instruction. So we did that. Now click the cell K5 for the lookup value arguments. So go back, click the arrow and select. We can move this down. Select K5. This is the K5 we are looking at. Go back. Now go back to the instruction. Check what you have done. So you can keep track of the direction and what steps that you have completed. Now we have to click the lookup, the second arguments for the XMatch is to look up array box. So we need to select the cell A3 all the way to A50, all right? So one way is just you can copy this, all right? You can copy it and you can paste it to save time. But if you want, you can click like this and then you will select A3 all the way to H50. All right, it's gonna take us the name. So it give us all the information there, right? Or as I said, you gonna just go here and say A3. Sorry, we were looking not the whole thing. It should be A3 to A. So it was A3 all the way to A50. So I was wrong. I selected the whole thing. So it's only this column, the A column. A3 all the way to A50. All right. So that's what you need to select. All right. So that's why I went to your instruction and I copied A3 to A50 and paste here. All right. Now let's go back to the instruction. Now, this XMatch function is gonna look in a column A for the row that matches the data in cell K5. Now, if you look in your Excel file, right, you are looking for WE006, right? So that's actually the product ID you are looking at. So from where you want to look at, we want to look up from here, from this range, from A3 all the way to A50, right? From here. So that's what we said. That's our column that we want to look up for these WE006. All right. After we did that, let's go back. So that's what it says here. This XMatch function looks in the column A for the row that matches the data in K5. Next, now we will click the index in the formula bar, right? So we will go back here. You have to be careful. You have to go back to the formula bar here and click on the index and then click OK. All right, it's gonna open now the index again. All right. So let's go back. Now we need to choose the column, right? And then from the drop down, we have to choose from the name drop down box, we have to choose the XMatch again for the column number under the index function, right? So first we will move our cursor here and we will select the column. Then we will go to where? To the name box. And then we will click down and then find the XMatch. It's gonna open a new XMatch, right? So let's go back to the instruction. Now we're gonna type in the lookup value quantity. So I will copy this, highlight, Control C to copy. Go back to your Excel under the lookup value, paste, Control and V. We copied the quantity. Now we will go to lookup array. So where we have to look for this, where is the array, the table or the column? So the next now we are gonna look up at A3 all the way to H3. So why we wanna do that? Because this XMatch function is gonna find the cell in the quantity column for the row identified by the first XMatch function. All right. So this XMatch function finds the cell in the quantity column for the row identified by the first XMatch function. Now, to do that, although they said what you need to type, so A3 to H3. So what you need is click this arrow or type or copy what they said and paste it here. So I will just show you, like, select the arrow. Now they said A3 all the way to H3 is the column, is the heading, is the column names for the array actually. Now click again. So once we select A3 all the way to H3, let's go to the instruction again, check the box, and then check this, and then here now, we did that. Now click the index in the formula bar to complete the formula. So we put the row num and the column num using the XMatch. So next is now we have to click OK, and then we should get a result 2. The answer should be 2. So let's go back. So once we are here, click the index, and then both of them are being populated, and then we will click, and then you see the result should be 2 here. Now click OK. So the quantity WO2 will be two of them. So let me show you on W, that's the W, and what's the quantity we have is 2. See? So we matched like what we are looking for. We were looking for WE006, and we want to know what the quantity is there. So it says 2. All right. So let's go back. Now, any of the product ID you are looking at, and we want to determine how many product we have, how many quantity we have for that product. So the book says now, sorry, the instruction says we have to go back and type WE040. So I will copy this. So whatever you change under the product ID is gonna give you the quantity number of quantity for the product ID you are asking for. So let's say if I said this, and then if you look here, it says 4 of them you have. All right. So I will go back and I will put the box again, because see, you have to have the box, because when you tab a new entry, it's gonna delete the box. So you will need to select and then go back to the font under the home and click the black arrow here and then say outer border, right? So as you see now, it says when I said WE040 product, I'm searching, and then how many quantity of this we have, it says 4. So let's check from the array of information of the range you have, and we said 40. So let's go down to 40. This is the guy here. And then we have 4 of them. See, the content is 4, right? So the function is working perfect. Now we have to find out the ragged hacking boot black one. So let's go back to the instruction. Let's check this, and we also tried and we changed the product ID to this, and then we saw that the quantity also is updated according to the product that we typed. Now we will use the sum if to calculate the product in stock. The product in stock. So let's go to L3. L, that's the column L, and 13. L13. So select L13. So our cursor, our pointer is in L13, right? Next, we have to go to the math function, and we have to look for SumIf function, right? So I will check this. I will go down to my Excel file, and then I will go to the function tab, the function library, and then we have to go to where math and trigonometry, and then we are looking for sums. Is it SumIf? We are looking for SumIfs. So go back and scroll until you see SumIfs. Sum is SumIf and then SumIfs, right? Is to add the cell specified by a given set of conditions or criteria. So that's why we use the SumIfs. So the first thing is the range and then the category. So let's check here. So select the cell E4 all the way to E50, right? So what I will do, I will copy this, and then I will go here, and then they said E4 all the way to E50. So let me show you again how to do it. You will click the black arrow. You will select E4 all the way to, and then, so E4 all the way to E50. E4 all the way to E50. Now we want to make it to be what? Absolute. So absolute means it's not going to change. The cell is not going to change when you're going to copy the formula. So to do that, we have to press the F4. So if you are using a laptop that has an FN key in it, so you need to press the FN key and then F4 to make it absolute. So let me show you how. So we are here. I will press the FN and F4. As you see, only one happened to it. So I will go back here and then I will press the FN again to make it absolute. All right, so that's absolute. Now click on the criteria range. So let's go back. Now click the criteria range box, select the cell C4 all the way to C50, and we have to make it absolute. So the C4 to C50 is the color field or the column. So let's go back. Now select C4, which is the color column, all the way to C50, or you can copy and paste here. Now click on criteria. Let's go back. Check this box. Next, in the criteria 1 box, you need to select K13, and we don't need to make it absolute. We have to leave it as relative references. So I will go to my Excel file and type K13. So if you go back here, look for K13. So that's the K13 here, right? So select K13. Now let's go to our next condition, criteria range, the next one. So check the box. Now in criteria range 2 box, we need to select B4 all the way to B50. B4. So move a little bit up. So click the up arrow, select B4 all the way to B50. Now click this arrow again to take us back to the function argument box, the Sumifs. Now, do we need to put criteria 2? Now we need to select criteria 2 and type J or select the column J13. So go here, click the up arrow and select J, column J13. J13. And then click back, click this arrow. So J13. Let's go back, check the box, scroll down, click OK, and then the result should be 16. And as you see here, it said the result will be 16. So we have 16. Now we will copy the formula to find out the gliding running shoes and the color, the one that is white. So we will copy this. Let's see the instruction. So now copy the formula entry to cell L14. Go back here, hold the fill pointer or the fill handle and hold it down. All right, let's go back and then check the box. Now we need to sort the data and use the sum ifs to identify the blank cells. All right, so the first thing is we need to select A4 all the way to H. And then we have to click on the sort button, which is under the data tab. So let's select A4. Scroll up to your worksheet. A4 all the way to H50. Let me see again. A4 all the way to H50. We selected the range. Now we need to click the sort button. So once you have selected the range, now we will go to the data tab. Under the data tab, you will see sort under the sort and filter. So click on the sort. It's gonna open the sort dialog box. Next, the sort the data in ascending order by product, right? So what's gonna happen now, the result in column K and L is not gonna be affected with what you have done here. So let's go back here and sort by, from the drop down, click on product, and we wanna sort it ascending wise from A to Z. All right, and click OK. So everything has been sorted, but this one was not changed, the K and L. All right. Now we have to select the cell L16. L16. All right. The handbag products. So we will go back to the instruction. Now we need to click the recently used button from the function library group and choose the Sumifs. All right, so let's go. Let me show you. So once you are in L16, you will go to the formulas and then you will see here the recent used. You see all your recently used function will be here. So you will click the small down black arrow and you see I have the XMatch, the index, the text, the if, and all this stuff that we used. So look for some ifs, some ifs, right? So it was the first one. Now let's go to the direction and then we selected the sum ifs, right? Now we need to select E4 all the way to E5. So I will copy this range and I will type it under the sum. I will paste it, right? So let's go back, which it means that they want the quantity, right? E4 all the way. So if you want to select this, then you will have to click on this, then select E4 all the way to E5. Now let's go back, right? And we this formula will not be copied and absolute reference are not necessary. So you don't need to also make it absolute. So you can just leave it as it is. Now in the criteria, the next we have to put D4 all the way to D50, which is the size field of the hang bag product do not have a size, right? So to select the D4 to D5, one way is to copy and paste in the given box, but if you want, I can show you this way too. So you will go to the range, you will click the black arrow, and we want to select D4 all the way to D50. See, column D and row 50. Once you selected your range, now click the arrow here to take us back to the function dialog box. Now criteria, what's your criteria? Your condition. So let's go down here. And then they said in the criteria, we have to tab equal, the equal sign. An equal sign as a criteria finds the blank cells. So to find the blank cells, we will put the equal, all right, in the criteria box 1. So criteria 1, you will put equal. Go down now, what's your criteria next? So for the criteria next, criteria range 2, we have to select F4 to F50. So I will copy this. And I will go back here in the criteria underscore range 2. I will paste what I copied from the instruction, or I can just select F4 all the way to F50. Is up to you how you want to do it. Now I have to go back to the instruction again. So I have to check this box is done. Now in the criteria, we have to put the equal again in criteria 2. Criteria 2 equal. All right. So you can click anywhere like this. So click anywhere so that you're gonna see the result 26, right? So just click here for a few seconds and go back. Now let's go back to the instruction. Check the box and we should get 26. After we click OK, the result in L16 should be 26. As I see here, it says it's gonna be 26. Click OK, 26. So let's go down to the instruction. Now we will go down here Now, number 8, prepare the criteria sheet for a database function. Now we're gonna use the database function. So we use the mat function. We have used the references, right? Now we are using the database function, right? So first we need to go where we have to select the worksheet, which is the satisfaction survey, and we have to select the cell A4 all the way to G40, and we have to name the range as survey, right? So let's go to our worksheet, and then the first worksheet is survey. So I clicked on the satisfaction survey, select A4 all the way to G40. All right, let's go back and see, is that what they asked us to? Select A4 all the way to G4, and we have to name the range as survey. So I will copy the survey, Control C, go back to Excel, scroll up, and then go to the name box here and paste what you copied, the survey word, and then press the enter key. So this whole thing, whole range from A4 to G40 is now named as survey. All right. So let's go back to the instruction. So we're done with this step here. Now next is click the criteria sheet tab. So let's switch now to the criteria range. Now click on the worksheet criteria. As you see my flashlight here, number 3rd in row. Click on it. That's the criteria worksheet. So what we want to do actually, we have to copy the product. So 5 product, 1, 2, 3, 5 of them. So the first one in A2 is gonna be rug, and the asterisk criteria that will be for the rug hacking boot. So Control C and paste Control V. Now go to A5 under the criteria worksheet, and then we will copy in A5 should be copy, paste, go here in A8. And look what we need here to be typed. In A8, we need LSZ, the asterisk. Then we will go here in A11, and then we will type SER, the asterisk. Control V to paste. So go back to A14 now. A14, you will highlight GLI star, Control C to copy, and then go back to Excel and paste. So all the products is been named. So A1 has RUG star, then com star, les asterisk, and then sir asterisk, and GLI. So these are the product. Next, so let's check all these boxes. We're done with it. Now we have to use the Daverage, which is the database to find the average data to summarize the customer survey data. So we have to do that. So to do that, we need to click on the average rating worksheet and select B5. So we need to go and switch to the average worksheet, which is number 2. Click on it. So this is your average rating worksheet. and then we have to go to B5. I will zoom a little bit so you're gonna see. So I'm in B5 now. Let's go to the instruction, and now we have to click insert function, and then we have to choose database, right? So let's go back, or we have to select the category. From the category list, you have to find database function. Let me show you. We are in the formula tab, function library, go to the insert function, and then once you see the insert function dialog box, be sure that you go to the middle drop-down box and check for database. That's the database here. Click on it. And then we are looking for D average. So let's go back. Is that the function we are looking at? D average. D average, database average. So database average, click OK. So now the D average or the database average dialog box is showing up on the screen. We have to provide now the database name and then the field, which is the column name, and then your criteria. So let's go back to the instruction. We find out the database. Now we need to select the D average, which I show you, to calculate the average convert rating for the booths. So the D average we are using here to calculate the average convert rating for the booths, right? So to select the database survey, we have to press F3. If you have a laptop that has an FN key in it, then you will hold the FN and then F3 to give us the survey. So to go back here to the Excel, now I will click the database and then I will hold the FN and F3. As you see, I get the paste name dialog box. I will select now survey and I will click OK. Now let's go back to the instruction. And then we have to click the field box and we have to select B4 and then we have to make it absolute, which we have to press the FN F4 twice to create a mix reference. It means I want to make the row to be absolute but not the column B, right? So that's a mix references. Now to do like this, we have to, in the field I'm looking is B4. So let's go back, click the field. Now we are looking for B4, which is the convert, right? So you will click this, you will click B4, then you will go down, and then we have to make it absolute. So hold the FN and F4. Then again, one more. As you see, the B, before the B, there's no dollar sign. Only the dollar sign is with the row number. So that means you want to make your row to be absolute, not the column B, right? In this case, it's the convert. Now, what's the criteria? Check the box. Now, click the criteria, select the criteria worksheet, and we are looking for A1 all the way to A2, and we have to make it absolute, right? So in the criteria dialog box, we have to go to the criteria worksheet, and then we have to select uh, those product that we booted there. Remember in the previous step, so I will show you. So click the criteria. Now be sure that you are in the criteria tab, a worksheet. Now we have to select A2, A2, and we have to make it absolute. So FN, F4, right? So that obviously will be Some laptop they have FN, hold the FN at the same time, press F4 to create the absolute. You see the dollar signs that we have. All right. So the result is going to be 7.75. Click OK. Now let's go back. We have to find actually for all these convert. So let's go back. Let's go all the way down. As you see, the result should be 7.75. And we have 7.75. Now we need to copy the formula in C to C5 all the way to D5. C5 all the way to D5. So B5 is this. We have to copy to the fit and the style. So hold the square down box until you see the tiny plus sign, then move to the right. All right. Now let's go back. So check the box. Now select the B6, and then we have to go to insert function, right? And then if we get an error, we have to change it actually. So obviously what they are saying is that if you go here and you copy it like this, right? We have either all you will get here or you will get an error like a value like this, right? So to avoid this problem, what you need is we have to change the file because remember, if you go here, when you double click this, you see this is absolute. It's not gonna change now. If I go down here, sorry, here, see, still I have A1 and A2. So what we need to do is select the B6, right? So let's go back here. Let's just select the B6 and we have to change it from A1 to A2 to 4 and 5 for the next one. So that we're gonna select the comfy walking shoes, right? So let's go back. And then you should be under the formula tab, function library, and then click the insert fx. It's gonna pull up the function again. So the only thing you need to do is just, you can either change the number here, 4 and 5, or just select the third criteria box, delete this, and select A4 and A5 and make it absolute. So press the FN and F4. And then you see the result is going to be 7.5. Click OK. That's perfect, right? And then you can just go here and ignore. Now let's go down here and then let's go back. So we did that. We received the result as this. They said trace the error because the formula is different from the one above. So we did ignore it. Remember, I clicked it and then I said ignore the error. Now we have to go down here to B7, or we have to change the 1 and 2 to 7 and 8, right? So that would be for the lazy flip-flops. All right. So to do that, we will select B7, click on the insert function to pull up the function again. Click the third, which is the criteria, is gonna, you see the worksheet is switched to the criteria. And then you will delete this, highlight and delete, and then select now product and the lazy one, and then make it absolute. So Fn and F4. Now it should be 49. 49. Now click OK. Now let's go down here. Then click the Fn insert function. Click on the third box. Delete and select the product and which is A10 and A11. Make it absolute. Press the Fn key and F4 until you see the dollar sign being added. Then click OK. Now let's go to the last one. Select the B9. Be sure you are in the formula tab. Function library is the group and click on insert function. And then we will select the third box, take it off, delete, and select A13 and all the way to A14. And then hold the Fn and F4 and then click OK. So everything look perfect. Let's go back. So then we did the B7 and then B8 and B9 also we changed it. Now we have to select B5 all the way to B9. Okay. So they say select B5 all the way to D. So we will fill it. All right. Now E5. Let's go back. Now we copy them to reach the column D. Now we have to select E5 all the way to E9 and we have to click the auto sum arrow and then we have to choose average. So to do that, to do this step here, all right? So what we need is we have to select E5. So we are in E5, right? And then we have to select all the way to E9. Then you can use the auto sum from here under the formula function library, and then you can go here and average, or you can go to the home tab, and then the second last group is editing. You will click the auto sum, the black down arrow, and then average. So it's up to you. You want to use it from the home and edit and then the auto sum, or you can go to the formula, you can click the auto sum here, and then the second function is the average. And let's go to the instruction. So we have done this, the average. Now we have to use the if function. So that will be the one here. So we have to select the F5, which is the rating, and then we have to determine if it's greater than 9, then it should display here excellent. If the average is above, is between 8 and 9, then it has to be above average, and if it's between 5 and 7, then it should display average, or poor will be less than 5. So this one should be poor, right? Because it's 4.5. 9.1 greater 9 or above 9 should be excellent. All right. So we will determine now using the ifs, using different conditions. We have to figure out what the rating will be using this table here. So to start with the function ifs, we have to be sure that you are um, in the average rating, and then select F5, go to the formulas, go to the logical function, and then look for ifs. Ifs check whether one or more conditions are met and returns a value corresponding to the first true condition. So when you want to use more than one conditions to check, then you have to use the ifs. So that's the ifs here. So what's your logical test? So now we clicked the ifs. It pull up the ifs function dialog box, and then in the logical test one, we have to select E5, and then we have to tab if E5 is greater equal 9. All right. So let's go. So E5 greater equal greater equal 9. So if you looked at here, so E5 actually is not greater equal 9, so it's false, right? So then what? Value if it's true, what value you want to give it if it's true from here? From here, what value you want to give it? So we want to give H5, and we want to make it absolute, right? By pressing F4. If you have a laptop that has an FN function, then press FN and then press the F4 to make it absolute. All right. So let's go. Let's check this value. If it's true, then what you want if it's true. So obviously the first one is not true. It says false, right? So if it's true, then it should be H5. So H and 5, right? See 5 the row. So that means if is the E5, the average is not greater to 9, then obviously it should be excellent if it's true. So obviously what's saying here is that the logical testing is that if if E5, the average is greater equal 9, then the value, if it's true, then give it excellent. If it's not, then go to the next logical test. All right. So the first one obviously is false, it's not. As you see here, is 8.9. And then you said if is H5 is greater equal 9, then it has to be what? Excellent, right? So obviously the first one here is not going to be excellent. It's going to be something else, above average, right? So let's go and check the next one. So in the next logical, we're going to say E5 greater equal 8, then H6. E5, which is the average, overall, which is this one here, greater equal 8, which is greater than 8, 8.3 something, 8.375, which is greater, right? So Excel is so here nice, it's telling you that your condition is true. Then what you want? We want H6, which is above average, right? Next, our logical number 3, greater 5. If E5 greater equal 5, then what? So now you have to move the down arrow a little bit down. So you're gonna see more here. So if H5 is greater equal 5, then what you want? I want H7. So we need to make these ones absolute. Did they say to make it absolute? Yes, all this has to be absolute. All right. So E5 in logical testing 3, we said that if E5 is greater equal 5, then the box S7, right? So first we have to make these guys absolute. So Fn, F4. This one, Fn, F4. So if we put another thing up, so this has to be absolute. Fn and F4. So everything being absolute. So go down. Now we wanna check if something is not above 5. So we're gonna say E5 less than 5. Then what we wanna say H8 is poor. And then hold the Fn and F4. And then let's go back and check. So in value if 3, F7, and then the last one is if E5 is less than 5, then we have to give it H8, which is poor. All right. So let me check this box, and this one. Let's go down and let's click OK. So everything look perfect. Click OK. So it's above average because above average, your H6 is above average. So let's check this. So you have to copy the first, so you can stretch the column. Now hold the square, the fill pointer or the fill handle and copy to the rest of the cell. So now actually it matches what you said here. So if you get excellent, because you said greater equal 9, and if you look here in the overall, the average is what? 9.1. And you said if it's greater than 9, give it excellent. Now what about this one? You said the overall is 4.5. And the result is what? Poor. So if you look here in your table of rating, that's poor. And if it's less than 5, and this is less than 5, 4.5 is less than 5. So that's why you got poor. All right. See, that's how we determine the rating. And then it goes through the above average or the average. Now, let's get next what we need to do. We clicked it OK. We copy the formula to the column. We have to do the auto fit to the column actually. And instead of double clicking, they say select, go to the home, select the cell group, format, and the auto fit the column width. All right. So either you want to double click it from here to stretch it or go to home, cell group, format, auto fit the column. So after we've done this, what is next? Go to the instruction. So check those boxes to indicate that you complete them. Now save the workbook. And next to save, this should look like this all together. Go back and check everything. See, we did the averages and the overall and everything. And we did also this one. So now we need to upload and save and submit for grading. So I will go back to my Excel. I will save it. I can go to File and Save. And then I need to close it so I can upload it. I will hit the X to exit the file. Now I will go back as my SimNet was already, the project is already open, the guided one. So I will go to upload. I will select my file. I will open. And then I will say submitted. And it says that there is one error I have under the if. So let's see what the error was. They said I was supposed to put some if instead of I didn't put. So let's check this again. So let me get back to my Excel file quickly. Sometimes it happens. So we have to look for the sum if that we did. That's the one here. Let's go back to the instruction. So I forgot to put J13. So in L13, go back to your Excel, L13. So here you go, L13. Double click and see what the problem is. So everything look perfect. Let's go back. So in the inventory has formula. They said it has to be this. So let me check what I did wrong. Let me move this like this so we're gonna see and examine. So they said instead this one, it has to be E4 all the way to E5. The only difference is that I didn't put the absolute for this one. So let's press the FN F4 and then this one also. See, that's how to correct if you have any errors. So that's the one here. All right. So everything matched good. And then this one also has to be absolute. So FN F4. I was rushing, so I forgot to put to make those cell absolute. So it's not difficult. Just go back and click on that L13. They said you have a problem with the formula in L13 in the inventory worksheet. And just we put this instead of this. So we fixed it. Now we should have everything look perfect. So let's go back. Let me see. It doesn't take it, so let me put it back. So when you're gonna do the formula for L13, be sure that you make the C4 and B4 to B20 as absolute. As you see, I forgot, otherwise it's gonna dock your points. So let's double click it. Let's double click this one so everything look perfect. All right. Let me go back. 16 should be the answer. So here it says, and then what about the L? There's only one problem I have. So let's see. So copy the formula. So let's go back. Now is 18. So everything look perfect. Now close it. Save the changes. Let me go back. So let me upload it again now. Select. Perfect. As you see here, my score is 100%. Right? So we fixed what the issue was. It was just a minor thing. I forgot the cell to be absolute instead of being relative. So we were supposed to make it absolute by pressing the N and then F4, right? So in front of you, I fixed it and everything is perfect and I got the point there. And I hope that you learn about how to explore the function library for the guided project. And I hope everything you learn all the functions that we have used uh, in this guided project. Have a nice day. Thank you so much, and be sure to subscribe to my channel and also like my channel. Thank you. Have a nice day.